Hey, welcome to the second episode of the YouTube channel, the Thursday Night Freakout, and I'm excited. We finally got somebody back that really was one of the original people to visit and be a guest on UFO Buster Radio, even back when Big O was around. As a matter of fact, I think Big O might show up for this, to be honest. And that is, of course, the one and only Ronny Dawson. Ronny, how are you? Maybe he's not there. Mic check. 1, 2,
I'm
1,
good, Danny. It's good to be here.
Hey, Ronny, how are you?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you great. So listen, like I was saying, it's been a while since we've had
great,
you on the
man.
podcast.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. So listen, I heard while you were on Discord, by the way, that you've got some updates as far as activities that have been happening to you since we last spoke. And I think we lost Ronny.
Yeah,
oh, there he is.
This is going to be like the debut of some of the new stuff that happened this year in 2020.
In 2020.
Yeah, some new stuff happened in 2020 here in February, so
yeah,
I haven't talked much about that.
Yeah, but how could you have, like, among all the things that are going on, you're going to add aliens to it too? Yeah, Ronny's aliens.
Oh yeah.
Ronny, you're like in and out.
Yeah.
What's going on?
And you know the bad thing is that, when this stuff happens, I don't know. It's like I don't know if my internet's bad. I can try to connect on the phone if you think that'd be better.
Yeah, if you want to go ahead and do that, and we will hold on for you. As a matter of fact, what I can do is, since we're having some technical difficulties, and what I'll do while you do that and reconnect, I'll go ahead and open it up for the folks who are in the live chat, in case they want to join in, because it is a Thursday Freakout. Well, Ronny renews his connection and gets into the phone, which actually is a pretty good connection. I've tried the phone connection before. So, Ronny, you go on ahead and check on out and come right back. For you guys who are in the live chat right now on YouTube or... Okay, Ronny. There he is. He's gone now. Shh, don't tell him I said that. If you're on live now on YouTube or if you are on Facebook, feel free to join right now. It is a Thursday Freakout, so basically, if you got something to freak about, this is it. Come out here and let us know what. It could be COVID-19. It could be Bigfoot had an issue with you, or you have pictures. No one believes you. Maybe you saw a balloon. I don't know. Whatever it is that you feel you want to freak out about, it could be the most mundane thing. This is the episode to do it. Most of the time we talk about UFOs and stuff like that completely and specifically on the podcast. This is the YouTube that we've started in order to get people to come on and just kind of get into their own, not be afraid. We're not going to ridicule you. Just get on here and talk some shit. It's okay. You can curse if you want. I'm not monetized, so I really don't care. So you can say whatever you want. I'm totally okay with it. The link is in the live stream, so please feel free to get on in there while we wait for Ronny to come back while he's testing his connection. By the way, I cut myself just trying to get the setup done. It's the craziest thing. Sometimes things are against you. They just work against you when it comes to ufology and stuff like that. In the meantime, we are waiting for the hop for SpaceX Starship. And apparently, the streets are going to be closed in Boca Chica. They're going to be closed Friday, and so we'll see what happens. So it looks like we got Ronny back, and Ronny, there you go. I can actually see you, Ronny.
All right,
there you go. And by the way, we're going to add someone else to the stream. It's Pucky. You know Pucky from Discord.
Hey.
All right, hey Pucky.
There you go. Fantastic. So, Pucky, we're going to quiz Ronny on what's been going on with him. But, Ronny, before we get into that, I think what we really want to hear how this started, like a real brief history, because I know it's pretty long. You've been dealing with this for a long time. So just give us a quick synopsis and bring us up to speed until we get now to 2020.
Yeah, we're gonna cover about 12 years real fast here, and
Let's
in
do
about
it.
2009, I started seeing some lights and UFO activity, and I started trying to record it, and 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 I got some footage of it and stuff, and it was freaking me out, trying to figure out what it was, just like anybody would. And then uh, about 2011, about 2010, we started seeing some craft. I fired a laser at the craft, and we started getting some footage of the UFO craft itself instead of just the lights. And after I fired the laser at it, the next night they paid me a little visit at my house. I had an alien home invasion here in my home in Ranger, Texas, and they held me hostage in my bed, and they ransacked my house and scared the heck out of me and my cat, and they actually clawed a hole in my floor to gain access to my house. And I seen them running around. I probably was 8 to 10 feet from one of them, standing still in the doorway while they had me paralyzed in bed. And after this, we were still seeing the craft, and I was still getting pictures and stuff like that. And I've got tons of pictures, tons of videos. And I started having some anomalies, like it's the same kind of anomalies, like, you hear all the other UFO experiencers talk about around their homes and stuff, just like free roaming vapors and orbs and stuff like that. And we recorded them on film and stuff like that. And I just think it's alien stealth, So, and then about in 2011, a year after the home invasion, they came again. And I was working down in Coleman, Texas, and they flew a mile-long mothership right over the top of me while I was at work, and it scared the living hell out of me. They had a scout ship approach me and flew right over the top of my head, and I hid, and I took some pictures while this thing was directly above me. I could see the disc blocking out the stars. I could see a compartment that lit up underneath the craft, and inside the picture that I took, there's an alien standing in the lit compartment. And it turns out that this is the same alien that would later pay me. They actually, the first encounter happened in August of 2017. They paid me a first-hand visit at my home. My living conscious and my sleeping body for a conversation. So you don't have to have like a Dr. Greer's CE5 to have contact with me. And these guys actually drugged my consciousness, my physical being, my life spirit, life force, whatever you call it, right out of my conversation. And my wife walked through the room several times, and she couldn't see any of us standing there, but see her as they walking by. And they said that this is where they watch us from, and this is where they observe us. And the point of this thing was they wanted to talk to me about how to let the world know that they're watching us, that they're seeing us, and that the people of their world want to communicate with us, and how to go about doing it. So, and during this conversation, I asked them to show me how they got here, because I'd always heard that, if you get the chance, ask them how they got here. I did do that. I asked them how they got here. Asked them if they could show me. They didn't seem like they really wanted to, but they were nice enough to do it. They seemed like it kind of frustrated them a little bit. But they actually had me walk through the wall, and I fell into outer space off their planet. And I didn't have to breathe. I wasn't hot or cold, but I was floating in zero gravity above their planet, looking at the stars in their galaxy. And this thing was, so I don't know how they're doing that, but I was a long way away, and I was there really quick just by walking through the wall. It was like, this thing is almost like a 3D printer. The jets out in Florida that filmed the black box that flew by the aircraft on the gun camera, that's exactly what it looked like. It was a complete black box. And when I was out of space doing this forward flip, looking at their planet, up in the air, and when I rode, I was doing a slow forward flip. But when I came back around, I could look and see where I came from, and I came out of a black, perfectly square black box. And then finally, after 2 or 3 minutes of being there, they grabbed me by the shoulder and they drugged me back into my bedroom. And we finished having a conversation. And the weird thing was, they were harassing me for a genetic sample. And I told them, I said, I know, I represent every man, woman, and child on the planet Earth. when I'm talking to these beings, and that's a heavy weight. So I was careful not to voice my opinions or try to piss them off. It was like whatever it takes for the people of my world and the people of your world to become friends. I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to help, and that's what I told them. And I still maintain that aspect of the relationship that I have with them. And
so, Ronnie, this was back. When was it that this happened?
This was August 2017 that they made first contact with me. Other than that, the years prior to that, they were just scaring the hell out of me by showing up in the middle of nowhere and just freaking me the hell out. But I never had met them or seen them up close and personal. But this, in August 2017, I was as close as you could possibly get. I was inches from. There was two females, and they were from two different planets. Actually, one of them was tall and had blue skin, and she had a red ruby on her face. And she had another jewel glued to her forehead. And then she had a weird tattoo on her other cheek. And she was really tall because I had to look up to her. And I'm a 5'11". So I would say that she was probably 6'6", very athletic. Had very short black hair. And the ears did not appear pointed or anything like that. They appeared fairly normal. She was fairly attractive. You would find her fairly attractive if you met her on the street, except for her skin had a weird color, and her eyes were extremely large. And I got real close to her eyes and looked at them, and they were blue. They were magnificent blue, and they had white spots in them. And it kind of freaked her out that I was that close. And one of the things that they told me to tell everyone is that when it comes time to make first contact and you meet the people of their world for the first time, the first rule of contact is not no physical contact without verbal consent. All they want is you to ask them before you touch them, I guess. It's what that
I think we want the same thing most of the time, right? Common courtesy.
So they just, some of them don't want you to touch them. Apparently, it freaks them out. So they don't want. Right. They don't want to just. They don't want you grabbing them. They don't want you shaking hands.
Hold on. I think you're sending a message to Jan Harzan. Was that a message for him? I don't know. Kind of sounded like it.
But the weird thing was they wanted a genetic sample from me, and I was having a conversation with these two, and the other one now she had a human body, but she looked just like a woman, except for the fact right there where her mouth and her nose tip are, it turned into a cat's mouth, and you could see her ears coming through her large hair, so she had like pointy ears, and she had a mouth like a cat. She spoke English with her mouth, but she had a hard time making certain sounds, and it was almost comic. Listen to her trying to talk English, but she did a damn good job of it. And both of them were very intelligent. Both of them spoke English with their mouth. God only knows how long they've been watching this. But and they told me, they said they first found our world because they had been in a galactic war, and our nuclear testing. They were being attacked through an interdimensional portal that somebody was opening up, and they said you can imagine trying to fight a war when your enemy just is there immediately. You don't see them, all of a sudden you're there. So our nuclear testing sent light and radiation into their alternate universe or whatever, and it freaked them out. And they started investigating it, and they found us. And this was apparently when we first started doing our nuclear testing. So these are not the aliens that built the pyramids or nothing like that. These guys... from what they told me, they just found us somewhere in the early 50s, probably, when we started doing nuclear testing. And they watched us for a long time. They learned our language, and they wanted to see their enemy. They thought maybe this was a staging point where their world was attacked. So they were very cautious in observing us before to see if we were in alliance with the other group that they were at war with. So I understand they were very cautious. They learned our language. They watch us. They know how we think. And people ask me for Ronny Dawson, why you? Man, I'm a guy drives a truck for a living, high school graduate. Why you? I said, and here's the reason why, me, because I was driving a $250,000 piece of machinery out of nowhere, and I was loading crude oil that was pumped from the core of the earth. So I guess just me being there at that place doing that thing led them to be that somebody. I might be somebody that they'd want to contact and find out more about. They
Well,
followed
and
me back
the
to
other
my.
thing too is that you're pretty much out in the middle of nowhere. There isn't very much around you when you're out there, huh?
No, it's a pretty rural location, and some of the leases that I haul are 10 miles off the pavement back into the back country. So I go into some very rural locations. They could approach me without being seen by others. But now we're getting to the point where
that kind of brings us. Yeah, that brings us up to like the last time that you were on the podcast, basically, speaking about your last visit. Now, before we get into the new stuff, before we get to 2020, we got to make sure that we kind of say hello. We got Pucky, Gamevid, and Dre. Dre's joined the chat here live, and so we're gonna find out what's going on with Ronnie in 2020, because most of us have had a devil of a time, even without aliens. The way the things have been all around the world. So, but Ronnie, you got a little bit extra thrown at you when it comes to the ET conversation.
Well, like I said, the one thing that we didn't cover too much was they were bugging me for a genetic sample, and I didn't know how they intended on getting this thing, but I had figured I was at the point where I was willing to do anything that I needed to do for us to get along with these guys. I mean, I'm representing every man, woman, and child on the planet, so it'd be selfish of me to not give them and do anything in my power to get along with them. And they wanted a genetic sample from me, and it appeared they wanted to make some kind of clone or something. I said, yeah, just whatever you have to do. You know, I'm willing to take one for the team or whatever, ever how it goes. You know, and they wanted me just to have sex with the cat, like female, because she was a geneticist and she just wanted the genetic sample sexually. And I'm like, that is the strangest request. And they said, no, you don't got to do it. I said, but we really appreciate it if you did, because it would help us out a lot. And we want to do this club thing, and they were going to do some other stuff.
Okay.
And so what
when
these
you
guys
said that,
did was,
you said that Pucky grabbed his cat. Yeah.
It was in the way.
Right
as
now.
strange as it is.
Yeah, it was just in the way. I can't help it. Sorry, man.
You know, strange and it's and you have to realize that it's not this great romantic encounter. This is like sex with an alien cat woman in the daylight with my wife walking through the bedroom. Very awkward, very strange, and I don't even know how I pulled it off. I would just pull it off to get by it. I just wanted to get it over with and be done and give them whatever they need. And when it came time to leave, my sleeping body was laying there in the bed, and they had pulled me out of it by my arms. I mean, I wasn't, they had grabbed me and just pulled me out of my sleeping body. And that's how I got there. It wasn't no CPR or no medication or nothing like that. They just grabbed me and they pulled me out for a conversation. Now, when it comes time to go back,
just to bring everyone up to speed, when this happened to you, it wasn't like physical, like you're referring to your wife, but she didn't see you guys because this is more like an out-of-body, interdimensional experience.
Yeah, I had a physical body, and I could see their physical bodies, and it was like you have mass, but you don't have a whole lot of mass. And it was like you can either sit on a bed or you can wade through the bed like a pond of water. You can lean against the wall or you can walk through the wall. And you have to realize, like when she grabbed me when I was floating in outer space, I grabbed on her hand because I was afraid I would slip away, because you can't put out a whole lot of force. And they say that this is where we're going to meet them, in this spiritual place, because it's free of bacterial contamination and everybody is safe from physical harm there. Like it'd be impossible to harm somebody physically there. And I mentioned that to them, and they said, well, they have weapons that do work there. And I'm going, okay, so if they wanted to harm me, they could harm me, but I can't. I don't have the ability to harm them. Basically, was where we were at. And they said battles had been fought there. So apparently they do have weapons that work there. And they had some electronic equipment, because after I was with that female, they had taken. I seen where she took the sample of ejaculate and she put it in this tube looking thing, and I seen the light scan it, and it was a very odd looking beaker with all these fancy lights and stuff on it. And but the thing was, they got the sample they needed, and when it come time to leave, I had jumped back onto my physical body. At first, it didn't work, and I was just laying on top of myself. And I looked at them, and I was like, "Well, you guys, I don't think they're very good at this because I thought, man, I'm trapped here. I can't get back in my physical body." And they said, "Well, get back up," and they said, "Leap onto yourself." So when I leaped onto myself, it felt like I fell 5 feet. And when I woke up immediately, and the room looked just like it did before. I mean, the lights coming in around the windows were the same. The lights coming in from the kitchen was the same. And I looked up and expected to see them, even though I had woke up physically. But when I looked, the room looked identical, but I could not see them for nothing. And my wife could not see us. And they said, we're standing right beside you. We're with you here, and you can't see us from here. It's like there's not enough mass for them to be visible here, but they're walking amongst us. They could walk in the White House, Area 51, wherever they want to go, and they hear and see everything we do, and you don't even know they're there, and they can see us as plain as day. And some of these physical anomalies I recorded at my house, I think is them trying to give you a clue that they're there. And,
so, Ronnie, what do you?
Stan Romanek.
Rob, it's funny you said that because I was about to ask you about that. As far as Stan Romanek and all his stories about fathering children that are, out there somewhere in the universe with all these visitations he had, do you feel that your story is going to put you in that same category?
Well, Chris Bledsoe has seen the same thing. He's another UFO experiencer. He's seen the orbs around his house. He's seen the physical anomalies, and he's recorded them as well. And Stan's story, I was always kind of fishy about that alien peeping in the window and stuff. But the thing that impressed me most about Stan Romanek's story was the orbs and stuff that he had caught on video. Some of that was very similar to what I've caught, in my house and around my house, and I had seen personally with my own two eyes. And I believe it's alien stealth technology is what it is.
So 2020, what's going on now? Because I actually have a picture that you posted on Discord, but we have to let you describe it first.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't get any pictures of what happened here, but this blew me away because you have to realize this is August 2017 when all this happened, and it's been really quiet since then. And I mean, I see some UFO lights. I seen a strange thunderstorm with lightning shooting up out of the top of it repeatedly for about 15 times over about 3 minutes, which is too rare to happen. And I don't know what that was about. And I just seen some weird stuff out there, but it's been pretty quiet compared to, what had been going on. After you go through something like that, it's been really quiet. And I just kind of wondered, are they done with me? Are they through with me? We had our conversation, and what I told them in the conversation was they want to know how to break it to the world that we're here, we're being watched. And at first, I told them they're going to have to give me a piece of alien technology that utilizes stuff that we don't have, and it's made from material that's impossible for us to get. And I said, for the critics and skeptics to believe it, you're going to have to give something like that to me. And I pointed at the guy sleeping in the bed. I said, not to me. I said, you got to give it to him. And I pointed at my body sleeping in the bed. And then I thought about it. I said, you know what? They'd probably just take it. They'd probably just take it from me, shoot me in the head, and it'd be put in a warehouse somewhere. So I talked to them, and I said, I think what would be better than that would be a global display of alien presence that would be undeniable in size and scope. I said, that's the only way that you're going to tell these guys that you're here. And I keep waiting for that. I keep hoping for that.
Yeah, we're a long way from that, apparently.
That was my advice I give them, but they're probably talking to other people who are saying different things, but that was my input into the conversation. Okay, so in 2020, like I said, I haven't seen anything. It's been a year. It's been a year since I've just seen some UFO lights and stuff like that you can't really, it's awesome to see, but you really don't know for sure what it was, And so what happened was it was just I went to sleep like normal, and all of a sudden, the next thing I knew, I was being I thought I was dreaming or something like that. I was being escorted out of a tent somewhere, and I felt like I was drunk and I couldn't walk, and I kept falling down. And there was this big, heavy-set guy that kept trying to help me up, and there's these other two guys that were trying to help me up. And every time they would stand me up and release me, I would try to stand up, and one of my legs would give out, and I would collapse to the ground. And then it was like my arm would work, and then my arm wouldn't work, and I was just freaking the hell out trying to figure out what the hell is going on. I was flopping around on the ground like a fish, and then finally this somebody come up, and they were wearing these medical covers, like somebody just coming out of surgery. Mm-hmm. And she said, just hold still. She goes, your synapses have to realign or something like that. And she said, you got to be still for a minute or two. And I sat still, and I noticed all of a sudden my arms just started working right. Like they had a glitch in them and stuff. They would work, and then they would stop. But all of a sudden everything started working. And I thought, okay, all right. I said, I feel like everything's working now. So they stood me up, and the one that was wearing the medical stuff, she went back inside. So I'm sitting there talking to this large, heavy-set guy, and I noticed he had a British accent. And he helped me. He said, you all right? And the two other guys, I looked at them. They're like young guys, and they're wearing this weird like jumpsuit like Jack LaLanne did back in the early days, very odd-looking jumpsuit. Yeah, they were white. They were young guys. Both of them had blonde hair. They were very athletic. And I first thought that maybe they were androids, but later I kind of think that they were probably clones. And I had no idea, where I was at or what was going on. But so I talked to the guy, and I said, he goes, yeah. He goes, you all right? You all right? And I'm going, yeah, I'm all right, And I said, who are you? And he told me his name is Jonathan, and I want to say it's Buies or something like that, Boos, and he's from South Africa. And I'm hoping I can find this guy. And I said, well, he said, he goes, I guess. He said, I'm from South Africa, and I said, well, what do you? Said, where are we? And he said, I guess you figured out that this ain't Earth, is it? And he said, look at that sun. And I looked around, and I was apparently there was a green grassy fields, and there was about 100 to 200 these little white houses, and they had white picket fences around them, and it looked like the way they built houses like back in the 50s, man. It looked like right out of the Leave It to Beaver age. And they had green manicured lawns, but I didn't see any lawnmowers or anything like that. None of the houses looked like they were lived in. And I mean, everything looked really nice. I didn't see not one tree. It was just fields, and there was rolling hills, and you could see these houses built on the side of one hill and up the other. And you could see for a long ways because they weren't real big hills. They were just kind of like rolling hills like you might see in Kansas or someplace, So, and I talked to this guy, and he said he was from South Africa, and I didn't really, realize what. He said, I guess you realize we're not on Earth. And I said, so you mean we're not on Earth? He said, look at that sun. He said, that'd be your first clue. And I looked up at the sun, and the sun is not bright. He said, you can almost look at it. He goes, you can almost look at it for a second. He said, it's not as bright as the sun on Earth. And I looked up at the sun, and it was really large in the sky, and you could look at it, and it was larger than our sun, and it seemed like it was a lot closer than our sun, but it certainly wasn't as hot. And you could look at it for a second without it really hurting your eyes. But I mean, the air was clean, you could breathe. And the sun was very large, and you could almost see it looked like fire. Like you could almost see the fire coming off of it at times. And I thought, wow, that is really strange. Yeah, that is odd. He goes, yeah, I don't know where this is at. He goes, but it's certainly not Earth. And then I thought,
so God, he had no clue. He had no clue where you were.
No, he didn't know. for sure where we're at either. And I hope I can
I would
find
tell him
this
to get
guy.
the fuck out of there. Wait, why is he there if he can't give you any answers to your questions? Who is this guy?
Oh yeah, he's okay. This guy. Okay, I'm sitting there talking to this guy, and I said, well, what are you doing here? And he said, well, he said, I volunteered. He said, for this penile augmentation. And I'm going,
what in the hell?
What?
Space?
He said, I said, penile augmentation. I said, yeah, I think he's talking about his penis. And he goes, yeah. He goes, I'm second in line to get one. He said, you were the first. And I said, oh shit. And I was wearing like I don't know, some kind of a shirt, and I was wearing these loose shorts. And I was like, I don't dress like this. And I had these tube socks on that came up to my ankles, and I had these like Converse shoes on, but they were like Converse duplicates. You could tell that Converse didn't make these shoes. It was like that, like somebody was trying to duplicate
China.
Converse.
Some China ones. It came with a little bit of COVID-19.
Yeah. It was very weird. So I thought, well, he said you were the first, and I'm like, he said, yeah, they've already done you. And I thought, oh my God. So the first thing I did was run my hand off down in my pants. And it felt like a big old long weight noodle in there. It was like freaking me the hell out. And I pulled this thing out. It was like I had a piece of intestine or something in my hand. It was kind of pink and red and long as hell.
Ronny.
And I thought, my God, what is that? You know, what in the world? And,
Ronny, this is the family show.
Yeah. Okay, well. Okay, the alien.
So you ended up with an alien penis. Is that what you're telling me, Ronny? Is that what we're coming to in 2020?
Now, yeah, the alien comes back out. They've got like a mash. It looks like a mash tent set up. It's a surgical tent they have set up over here, right on the street of these houses. And I look down at this street, and this street is big and it's wide. And I used to work in road construction, and this street is in perfect shape. There's no cracks in the road, and it's big and wide, and it's got curves just like our streets do. But it don't look like a car has ever seen this road. And it was like, yeah, and the houses, they looked like they were all in good shape, but nobody was living in them. There wasn't anything personal items around any of them. And it was the kind of little house that had the front porch outs, you know, where you kind of walk up to the front porch. They had swing doors, you know, like it was just like the 50s styles houses all around there. So this alien comes walking back out of this tent, and her mouth is covered, but I'm thinking it's the same cat face alien from the first encounter. And she comes up
back for seconds.
Yeah, and I had this alien penis thing in my daggum hand, looking at it, and she goes, "Yes." She said, "Yeah, this is, you know, we did this augmentation so you'd be better suited to, so it would be better suited to breed with the females." And I'm going, oh, okay. She goes, by the way, she said, "We apologize for having to give you. You seen the picture of the shots on the back of the leg?" She said, we had to protect our interests, and we had to give you a vaccination. And I looked at the back of my leg over here thinking I should find something, right? And I felt in the back of my leg, and I looked at the back of the leg, and nothing was there. And she goes, "No," she said, "I mean the back of your leg back there." And she was like talking about Earth. She was talking about the body that was back here. And that's
I thought she was talking about the third leg they gave you.
Yeah, that's the dots that you've seen on the picture. So
right
now, there was nothing on the leg that I was in, and I started realizing that, okay, there's a difference between the body back there and the body here. This body here that they put me in apparently is the clone that they made. And I had done some research and listened to what other experiencers that said on how long, like if they were going to clone me, how long would it take? And the people that I had was reading about had said it only takes them about 2 years to bring a clone up to full grown adulthood. And this was 2.5 years. February would be 2.5 years from the time that they took the sample back in August 2017.
Oh, I
so
see.
It took them
So they basically kind of like they move your consciousness into this clone.
Yeah, and see, and that's kind of what they were getting at was, and then she told this Jonathan guy. She said, she goes, this is Ronny Dawson. And this Jonathan looked at her like strange, like he goes, yeah, I'm familiar with Ronny Dawson. And she said, no. She said, no. She said, I mean, this is the real Ronny Dawson. And then the Jonathan guy, he started acting like, oh my God, yeah, the real Ronny Dawson. Like, oh, he's in there. And he was pointing at me going, yeah, he's in there. And she goes, yeah, he's in there. And
so
he was like, oh.
So what you're saying is that you have a clone that has a clone that has a cat penis somewhere else.
Right. Basically, that's the way it is. And this was the first time I got to test drive the clone. And anyway, so now, okay, you think it's odd now. It's going to get a lot odder. It's going to get a lot odder. Because what happens now was she goes, yeah, she said, we need to test it to see if it works all right. And I'm going, and she goes, we have a young female over here. And she said she's in the middle of her estrus cycle, and we would like for you to mate with her so we can test the function of it. And so I'm like, okay, well, this thing is limp like a noodle in my hand. Like, there's no way you're really going to be able to do anything with that. I'm not feeling in the mood or anything.
You got to purr.
I don't know how this is going to work.
Cat lady, and she got to purr a little.
And she said, well, go ahead. She said, we're ready for you. You need just go ahead and take off your shorts. She said, take off your shorts. You're going to want to take off your shorts because it's going to hurt if you don't. So I dropped my shorts, and I thought it was kind of odd. I had to drop my shorts right in front of this deadgum, this Jonathan guy, and he's looking me up and down really good because he's fixing to have the same thing apparently. And so I'm sitting here, drop my shorts, and she puts this little vial underneath my nose, and she kind of squirted it, and it smelled like a cross between like a sunflower and cat piss. And she shot this up my nose, and the next thing I know, this limp thing starts getting erect, and I mean, this thing just kept getting longer and longer and longer. And I said, oh, my God, man. And I looked at that Jonathan guy, and I said, God, man, my God. I said, it must be 2 foot long. He said, no. He said, no, 17 inches. He said, it's supposed to be 17 inches. And I looked at it, and I said, yeah, it is. I said, it is about 17 inches. I said, I agree. Yeah, about 17 inches is right. He said it's supposed to be 17 inches. And
it's almost like they give you a little bit of catnip. You know how cats go crazy with a catnip.
Yeah, they give me some catnip or something. I don't know what it was, but it made that thing erect almost immediately. And, man, this thing, it didn't have a lot of girth to it, but it was very long, man. It was damn near sticking up to my chin like a flagpole, And so then she leads me back off into the tent. Well, I noticed there's this female cat. She looked just like the other cat woman that had visited me in August. And she had white fur, and she had black stripes. She had a round face.
Ronny, something's wrong with your audio. It sounds like you're in the toilet. Sounds like you're in the restroom right now.
Yeah, they're probably trying to said we're talking too deep, man. We're trying to cut us out.
Yeah, we're kind of losing you there.
Is it me or is he losing feed?
Yeah, Ronny, you're losing the feed. The cats are against you, man.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Maybe I could just put it to my face. I'm holding it away from my face right now so my camera will work. Should I just put it to my face and try it?
Yeah, sure. We'd like a closer look at your mug right there. Put it closer.
Yeah, you'll be able to see my ear. You'll probably be able to see my ear. Okay, how do I sound now?
It sounds the same. Sounds like somebody threw you into like a can and let you speak on it. I don't understand. That's weird how it stopped all of a sudden.
Yeah, I mean, it's been working good,
I thought that was pussycat.
So, man, I don't know.
Yeah, what the hell is that? Is just bananas. All of a sudden, it's not working. Once you start talking about the feline penis, it's banana. It's crazy. It's information they don't want to get out. That's what it is.
Oh, I mean, Corey Good never told a story like this.
I'm not even creative enough to make something like this up. You know, if I try to make something like this up, you know, there's no way I'm creative enough to make up a story like this.
Yeah, no kidding.
And I don't have these kind of dreams.
Honestly, if Corey Good had a 17-inch cat penis, he'd be pretty popular.
You know, and at one point, you know, this Jonathan guy said that he had volunteered for it because he was 50 years old and he had sexual dysfunction, and he said that they were looking for 50-year-old men who have sexual dysfunction that wanted to volunteer for this. I guess they were abductees, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, so he volunteered for it. He said that they offered to bring his wife in here at one point. Once we get, apparently we're working on something where they can transfer human consciousness into clone bodies. They're trying to build clone bodies, I think, to where they can accept many different people instead of just one person. I think that's what they're getting at. And they said that they're needing oxygenetic samples from the masses. From the mass of people, like they're trying to break the God code or whatever it takes so that they can build one clone and have several people go into it. And they're trying to work on some kind of interdimensional tourism, it seems like to me.
Yeah, that's completely bananas. What the heck is going on with these cat ladies? So listen, we got a few guys in the chat right now live with you. So I'm wondering, any one of them have questions for good old Ronny? And most of you are on Discord, so you know Ronny pops in once in a while. Anybody got questions for Ronny?
Hey, Ronny, I have a few questions for you, bro.
Go ahead.
All right. During this time, when you first started experiencing this, were you on different, was your diet changing, or did you do something different in your life at the time?
No, actually, I quit drinking and doing any kind of drugs way back in 2001. So I've been like 41 years. I've been sober for a long time.
After these experiences, did you have any other experiences with like rapid hair growth or like rapid nail growth or anything like that?
I think in 2017, I had a gastric sleeve surgery, and I lost about 100 pounds. So in 2017, we had that like I think it's in February of 2017.
See,
and I was losing a lot of weight, but I was really healthier than I've been in many years. So.
I've done some research before, and people that have these kind of experiences, they have rapid hair growth or like nail growth, or they'll have like a really bad teeth problems, like they'll start losing teeth, and almost like you was affected by radiation or anything.
Like they're crystal meth. Is that what you're saying, Pucky?
Crystal meth or radiation, whatever. Which one is affordable?
Man, I did have a lot of teeth problems.
I've had more dental work done than I've had done in years, man. I've had a lot of teeth I had to get pulled and stuff like that. And I do have, like, seeing the hair start growing all over my belly, because most of my life, man, I've been like an Indian. I didn't have hardly any chest hair. And then all of a sudden, on my belly, I started having this black hair, like, growing, like, really fine. And my wife was kind of freaking out for me. Man, it happened after the surgery. We thought it was maybe related to the surgery.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So you might be on something.
At least the clone apparently had rapid growth or something going on. So that might count for something, that's for sure. So anybody else have any questions for Ronny? And Ronny, it really was that it? The whole clone penis thing? So what happened after that? Have they come back at you for any more augmentations?
Well, you didn't heard the rest of the story.
All right. We were kind of shocked at the whole penis thing, but
yeah, you kind of stopped. You kind of stopped where I was walking back into the surgical team.
Okay, well, let's see what happens now.
Let's go to the story. When you get ready. Okay, you ready?
Yeah, go ahead. Let's hear it.
Okay, so she led me back in the surgical tent. Like I said, I'm sitting in this. There's this young female, and she's going. Now you have to understand. She said that she had mentioned this extra cycle several times. Extra cycle is not a word in my vocabulary. I didn't know what she was talking about. I didn't know. Wasn't really sure what she meant. You know, down here in Texas, if you got a cat in heat, we said that damn cat's in heat. You know, but I had never ever used the term extra cycle in my whole life. But this alien was using it quite a describing the condition of the young female that I was supposed to mate, and it would help shorten her estrous cycle. I did some research on that. Estrous cycle is a cat's heat cycle, and it did say that once a cat is bred, it will shorten the length of the cycle, which I didn't know that either. And so, I mean, if it's a dream, I'm dreaming and using words that my and she described they would have. So I really thought this thing out. When I decided that it wasn't a dream, that it probably was something that really happened, and it was the same people involved as was involved in August 2017. So I decided to start coming out with the story and telling people. And as bad as I didn't want to say, but like I said, I think you guys got a right to know everything I'm experiencing. And I have to represent every one of you whenever I have contact with these beings. And I have been willing to go to any length to be friends with these things. And I have gone through quite a lot. And it's all to make us better, so that they will hopefully at some point introduce themselves to the mass of us. And I can't wait for that day.
So, do you think that you can ever make a plea for them to actually make something happen, give you some physical evidence, take a picture with them, something like that, so that you can bring it back and show us what's going? We don't want to see the cat penis or anything like that, but definitely we want to see something physical. Let us know that you're going through these trips, these wild trips.
Yeah, that's right. That's
But, it's like when you're out in your physical body, there's no way to take a picture. There's no way to carry a camera. There's no way to grab anything physically and bring back with you. Maybe that's the reason they do it. I don't know. But they're really on your ship, so I'm going to have a piece of it whenever I get up.
Yeah, I think we're losing you again, Ronnie. But somebody had a question for you. Who was that? Was that Dre or Game Vet?
No, it was me. After you had any of these experiences, did you have any contact with like government officials or anything like that? Anybody from the alphabet soup ever come to, or maybe even stalking you or anything? You notice anything weird about that?
I haven't had any direct contact from anyone in the government,
and I haven't had direct contact with even people from the ufology field. No Stephen Greer's, nobody that is really interested in doing serious research on my at all. So, it's disappointing. I don't know what it takes to get these guys to believe it, but there's a few of us that are having encounters with these aliens, and I can't really do anything about people not believing me. Travis Walton do the same thing. Chris Bledsoe, everybody else who goes through the same thing. You try to get people to believe you. They either will or they won't. And I have no control for that. But I try to maintain good contact with these aliens, a good rapport with them, and apparently they don't mind grabbing me and using me from time to time. And if it helps, if the progress is forward. I'm willing to do it, man. What I've told them, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And having sex with this cat woman, she was going, like I said, I know she wasn't a hostage, because when she sat on the table, she started tying herself. She tied her own wrist up. They tied her wrist up and her other wrist up because they said it was for safety. And then I had my big old long 17-inch alien penis and had to have sex with her. And,
it almost sounds like a country song. when you say it.
And yeah, and I was just like, let's get it over with. Let's get it over with, you know. And
you never know when you work your way out of the situation.
The orgasm was not as powerful as it is when we orgasm here on Earth. It was like orgasm is like a side effect of rubbing on the damn thing, you know. Like it just started coming out, a lot of it, and I pulled out all 17 inches out. And they were telling me, whenever you ejaculate, full penetration. There were like 4 people in the room giving instructions on how to have. And it was a very odd deal. Yeah, you can imagine. And then, my God, how much fluid came over, and they were fixing it like it was valuable. And then they said they were going to do more invasive. They were going to do more invasive procedures on her, and I needed to go ahead and leave the tent. So they escorted me out the tent. Now, here was something weird. When you leave the tent, you walk through this like atmospheric barrier. You can see the difference. It was like a hazy environment, and it's like you could almost feel the pressure and the wind blast when you walk through it. And they instructed me to move through it quickly so that they wouldn't lose the environment inside. But there was nothing holding it. It was just staying in place by itself. And when I walked through the barrier, you could feel the wind rushing by me, and they encouraged me to hurry through it. Like it was like the sterile environment where they were doing the operating procedures was different than the environment outside the tent. And I couldn't see anything. I could see the barrier when I moved through it. And when I moved through it, you could feel it, and then you could almost feel the atmospheric change. I walked out of the tent, back out there to where the Jonathan guy was after having sex with this alien female. And so I was sitting there with Jonathan, and that's when Jonathan told me that he had volunteered for the program so that his wife, he said the program that we were working, he said, hopefully that y'all can get it worked out to where they can bring his wife out, and they promised him they would bring his wife out. And he told me that he had sexual dysfunction, and he said he wanted to surprise his wife. And whenever they could they would bring her out there, and they would give him some time with her. And I guess she would be surprised that he could have sex again, I guess. But I'm thinking to myself, she's gonna be really surprised when she sees this 17-inch alien penis for the first time.
Yeah, no kidding.
My God.
Quite surprised. So wait a minute. How do you sign up for this kind of augmentation? So are we saying that basically the guy from South Africa and his wife were both abductees?
I don't know. I don't think she was an abductee. I think he was. I think he was an abductee, and I think that he had been there, and they were gonna, and I think they were fixing to do a surgical procedure on him. Now, I was sitting here talking to this John guy, right? So then, man, it just keeps getting odder, right? Because I'm sitting here, okay, we're having a conversation, and I'm looking around at the houses. I'm examining the street closely, and I'm looking at this guy, and he's like wearing like throwback clothing. I'm looking at the picket fences like that are perfectly maintained, and I'm looking the place over going, my God, this is like some kind of a colony. I don't know if it's a breeding colony. I don't know if it's some colony they built to mimic Earth back in the 50s or what. I don't know the whole story on the place. But this planet, I did not see one tree anywhere, but there was just grass and rolling hills, and there was manicured lawns around each and every house. And each and every house looked the same and had a white picket fence around it. And it had streets running through the houses that looked like they had never seen a car. I'd never seen a car or any personal items anywhere like anyone was staying in any of these houses. So the alien,
once this whole ordeal happened, then how does it end? How do we get to the point where you're a South African guy, he gets his deal done, and then when you return back, how do you explain this to Mrs. Dawson?
Okay, well, the alien comes walking out of the tent. She's carrying this white bag, and she hands this bag to me. And I look in there, and it looks to me like a bag full of intestines, right? And I'm kind of grossed out. Oh my God, what is this? She said, "This is the reproductive organs that she said we need you to stick your penis in the reproductive organs of this thing so we can see if you're reaching a certain spot on this thing where you need to be able to ejaculate through for the reproductive system. And she had me this bag of guts, and I'm like, and I've stuck my hand up in it, and I'm like, how the hell am I supposed to do that? And remember the two guys I was telling you that had the white things on that I thought were androids, or maybe they were also clones. These guys they seemed very stupid, but they were very eager to help. But you had to give them full instructions on what you wanted them to do for them to do it. And I said, well, I told the alien, I said, I don't know how to find the hole opening that you want me to put it in. And I said, it's soft. Well, then she put this stuff under my nose again, and all of a sudden, here it goes again. Man, this thing is long, 17 inches long again. And I'm telling her, I said, I can't find. I don't know how to find the opening. And I said, we're gonna have to go over there and hang it on the fence or something. And she said, well, let these gentlemen help you. So they came over, and I told them, yeah. I said, take this over to the fence. I said, string it up on the fence, find the hole opening, put it down towards the bottom so that I can at least find it. And these guys did it. They carried it over the fence. They strung it over the picket fence. And I went over there, and I found the hole opening on the bottom of it. And she said, I need you to stick your penis in there all the way. She said, there's a hole up here. And she kind of pointed it to where it was at. She said, I need to see if your penis can reach its hole. She said, your ejaculate needs to come through this part of it. And I'm going, man, this is just really odd, but all right, man. So I started threading it on that 17-inch penis, hanging on that fence. And sure enough, this thing, and she said, rub it up and down and ejaculate if you can. And I'm going, now you're wanting me to jack this daggum thing off here, the gut that's hanging on a fence. And so I'm moving it. I'm thinking this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard anybody ask me to do. I find it up and down, and I'm not feeling any pleasure at all. And I could see the tip of it coming out of this little hole opening that she was so concerned about. And I'm going, yeah, look, it's reaching the hole opening. And I said, I feel nothing like ejaculating. So I pulled the penis back off this thing. Well, I'm sitting there after I pulled this thing off, and all of a sudden this penis starts ejaculating. All this stuff starts coming out of it, and it's just dripping out of it. There's so much of it, and it dripped on the shoe that I was wearing. And the Jonathan guy kind of looked down and laughed. I thought it was kind of nasty and gross, but he thought it was kind of funny. And
why is Jonathan watching? I don't understand that. Why is he watching you do this? What's wrong with that guy?
Creepy.
Yeah,
I guess he's fixing to get the procedure, so I guess he was entitled to see everything that went on with my chest or whatever, So he was standing there. He wasn't allowed in the surgical room, but outside the tent, he was there. And I hope I can find it.
You should have just sprayed him. I mean, hell, he was there. You sprayed him too.
Name over there in South Africa. So I'm hoping I can find this guy. But anyway, okay, so the test is over. She said, well, thank you, Ronny, for helping out. And next thing I know, boom. Man, I mean, just like that. I don't remember leaving. I don't remember being asked to go back in the body. I don't remember. All I remember is boom. She said, by the time she said, thank you for helping us out, boom, I was back.
You're back at home.
I woke up.
So it looks like we got a question from Dre real quick. What you got, Dre?
I felt like I had been awake hours. I mean, it wasn't like I was dreaming. It was like I was wide awake. I was laying in my bed. And then
it's almost like a nightmare because they took away your 17-inch penis. But listen, hold on a second and let's listen to Dre. He's got a question for you.
Hey, Ronny.
Right. Hey.
I know Pucky and Manny are chomping at the bit to ask this question. So were you able to bring back the augmentation?
Oh.
When I woke up, the first thing I did was run my hand out there in my shorts to make sure that dang. I'm glad I stuck with this one.
and then my next question would be.
Wait, hold on. He's breaking up. What he said was he couldn't bring it through customs.
Oh,
I was.
Yeah.
And then my next question would be
Yeah, and I made sure it didn't come with me.
the feline ladies. Are there any on Earth? Did he hear me?
I couldn't understand him. He was breaking up really bad.
He said, "Are any of the Pussycat girls on the planet Earth?"
I've never seen any of them. The only time I've only seen 2 of them, and this one was I mean, she was very. I mean, she had a fat, rounder face than the other one. She had black hair, kind of cut black, and you couldn't see her ears through her hair like the other one. But
Yeah, we're really losing you now, Ronnie. We can't. We can barely hear what you're saying.
These species must be having some reproductive.
That's all I can figure.
Did you say they use
EP
species?
are doing
Some kind of species.
Yeah, we're losing you completely, Ronnie.
I'm sorry, man.
Oh, there you go. So at the end of the day,
I had a question for Ronnie if he's back.
we keep losing you, but at
Go
the end of
ahead.
the day, what does this all have to? What does this all summed up to? Like, what does it mean for you that you had this experience?
Well, it means to me that they can drag you out of your body and put you in a clone body, and I think a lot of times the dreams that we're having, it could be it could be them dragging your conscious out of your body and putting a simulation on you. So I don't know how much of this is going on, and sometimes now I'm not sure that when you have a dream, it may actually be an alien simulation. They're putting you through an experience to see how you respond. It could be very possible that could be going on. But I'm putting 2 and 2 together, and I see that the cat species must be having some reproductive problems, and we're trying to work around it. And apparently, their solution involves us, and I don't know how much of it's going on. I know it's not just me, because now that I've met another contactee, I know that it's not just me, that it's others here who are involved.
Well, I think that would be fantastic if you could get in touch with that guy from South Africa and see if you have the same shared experience. That would really kind of lend some credence or credibility to your story if you can actually do that.
Well, my wife actually seen the dots on my leg that afternoon, and then I thought, what? And when she looked, I looked at the back of my leg and I seen those marks. I thought, my God, yeah, that's the marks that they told me about. That's the marks that she told me about. She said they were protecting interests, that they had to give me a vaccine to protect their interest. Now, you think their interest, they just spent 2.5 years making me a clone. Now, they don't want me to die of coronavirus or whatever the hell they're afraid of. So I don't know if it's a vaccination from coronavirus or if it's a vaccination. If I get coronavirus, I won't die. I have no idea exactly what that is. But I know they said they give it to me to protect their interest.
Yeah, Ronnie, your signal is pretty bad right now. I barely understand every other word. But what we need to do is we're probably going to cut it short here because you're coming in and out. But at the end of the day, it's an experience you had and something that's personal to you. But hopefully you can get some answers. Like I said, it'll be pretty cool if you make connections with this guy in South Africa.
Well, you guys are entitled to know, and for a long time, I was like embarrassed to say anything about it. But I feel like you guys have a right to know what I'm doing, what that involves the human race in contact with aliens. As weird as it is, you got a right to know it, and I need to man up and tell it.
That's good.
Yeah, we appreciate that. Did somebody have a comment or question?
I do.
What's up, GameVid?
Hey, okay. So recently, I've experienced a lot of sightings lately, including last Saturday. I saw 2 ships at night. One was a physical ship that was at least 2 stories tall, probably the size of a it was like a townhouse that has 4 houses in it. So it's basically the same size as a townhome. Now, I'm wondering since these sightings I'm having are getting closer, does that mean that they want to have contact with me, or what does that mean exactly? I thought maybe Ronnie would shed some light onto it.
Yeah, I think it means that they want you to know that they're here and they're getting you ready possibly for contact, so you won't freak out when they do contact you. They're showing you like they showed me. After they showed me enough and they were comfortable enough with my reactions, that's when they made first contact with me.
Okay, what did they talk to you first?
I don't think I'm the first person in the world that they talk to. I think I'm one of probably many.
No, I mean, well, my question is, did they approach you first, or did you ask to talk to them first?
No, they approached me first. The first thing they started doing was apologizing for disrupting my sleep. When they pulled me out of my sleeping body, they started apologizing immediately for disrupting my sleep.
Okay.
That was the first thing they were saying. I'm sorry.
Wow.
I'm sorry they were disturbing my sleep.
Really? So they were, okay. Well, that's interesting.
Okay,
Hey, Ronnie,
the very first of the comments, I posted a bunch of pictures on Messenger that you guys can go check out that I actually caught with my camera of the ships that I saw before the encounter. And so there's a lot of pictures there in the comments at the very beginning of the show that you can go back to, and you can see some drawings of the aliens. You can see drawings that Yvonne, the famous for Bishop, California, and we draw. One I saw one.
Hey, Ronnie, we didn't get most of what you just said, Ronnie. It's all breaking up. But so, did you drop a link into the chat? Was it on Facebook?
Check the comments at the very first of the show. That's where the links are at.
Thanks, Ronnie.
Thanks, Ronnie.
Thank you.
I have a question for you. Days after, anything after this stuff happened to you, did you notice that anything in your house or anything like that could have been missing, or or did you see anything that you could have brought back from this? I guess you would say other dimension, other planet. Did you have anything brought back with you, or anything missing from your house?
No, I haven't noticed anything missing. I don't think the only marks that I had on me were the ones on the back of my leg that they had told me that they give me. And like I said, but at times, me and my wife, we have seen stuff like standing in the dark. She woke me up one night and she said there's something in the bedroom with us, and she said it's over by the air conditioner. The air conditioner has a green light on it. And whatever it was, it walked in front of the green light, and you could not see the green light. And then the green light reappeared, and you could see the shadow walk over to the same wall they had me walk through, and it just vanished at the wall. So I think they've been in and out. I think they're trying to show me that they're still watching us here at the house, and they're pretty familiar with us here at the house. But they could be right here right now, and I wouldn't be able to see them, and you wouldn't be able to see them.
Have you ever tried to set up
your house too?
Have you ever tried to set up any kind of surveillance or anything?
I've got cameras all over my house, and I've seen a few. I've seen a few orbs kind of float around from time to time. I'm hoping to catch something amazing, but I really haven't. I've seen more with my naked eye than I've ever caught on camera. One time I was in bed in a room with the light on, and this mist I had my eyes closed, was waiting on my wife to go to bed to go to sleep, and I had the bedroom light on. I opened my eyes, and the whole bed above me was this mist, and you could see through it. It's like a fog. And as soon as I opened my eyes and looked at it and thought maybe smoke was coming from the kitchen or there was a fire somewhere, this thing just shot off and shot through the wall in a room with the light on while I was awake, and it just freaked me the hell out. I'm going, my God, that was amazing. I would have loved to have that on camera. I had no idea what it was. And in some of the comments, look at the comments at the very first of the show. There is some of the anomalies that I've caught on camera here at my house, included in those links.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll check that out later on.
Awesome. So if you guys want to, if you guys want to take a look at some of those pictures, and even does that include some of the pictures from your first incident way back when you took those pictures in the dark? When you first saw the ship?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of pictures, and they're not great pictures because when you got a camera taking pictures of moving objects at night, they just don't perform well, So I've got tons of pictures. You can go to Google and you can type in Ronny Dawson UFO, and it will pull up probably 20 or 30 pictures that I've taken. And like I said, some of the stuff that I've taken was of a mile-long mothership that had a tight V shape to it. And I watched this thing pass right over the top of my head and then shoot away at the speed of a jet. And some of the strange stuff on the surface of it after I've zoomed in is just, you've got to see it. It's just, it looks like an alien. It is completely alien. You could tell a human hand has never touched this thing. I filed a FAA report, low craft report on that big ship. The FAA did an investigation, and they said all craft in the area had been accounted for, and I should report my UFO to MUFON. And they just said UFO themselves. I was making it a point not to call it a UFO. They called it a UFO and suggested I report it to Newport.
So they actually said to report to MUFON.
Yeah, report my UFO to Newport, not MUFON.
Oh, okay, Newport. Okay, sorry. I misunderstood you on that.
I got a question.
So are the aliens afraid of? Oh, sorry.
I got a question for you, Ronny. At the time of the abduction, was there any physical evidence on the environment? Any weird things out in the yard? Any kind of like burn marks on trees around or anything like that?
No, I didn't see anything like that. But the strange thing was twice my wife walked through the bedroom. While I was sitting there talking to the two aliens, my wife walked through the bedroom to the bathroom. I seen the clothes she was wearing. And when she came back one time, she stopped and paused and looked at me, and it freaked one of the ETs out. And she asked the other ET, she said, "Can't you see us?" And the other ET said, "No, she cannot see us." And she pointed at my sleeping body. She said, "She's looking at him." And I later asked my wife, I said, "Why do you do that?" She said, "Well, you have sleep apnea, and I worry about you. So sometimes when I'm walking through the bedroom and you're sleeping, I'll pause and wait for your chest to move up and down. So I know that you're breathing okay. Then I'll go about my way." And I never knew she did this, but I actually got to see it firsthand from this ghost realm or this other dimension or wherever this was that they had me.
So Ronny, are you going to update your book with all the latest activities?
Yes, this is going to be the new chapter. I'll have to write a new chapter in my book to cover this last encounter that we talked about tonight. I haven't included it in my book, but I'll have to add another chapter to the Ronny Dawson experience covering this.
Can I ask you a question?
All right, Ronny. Well, listen, thank you for showing up on the show. Does anybody have a last question? Final question for Ronny.
Go ahead.
All right. So are they aliens afraid of getting their picture taken or afraid of their photos taken?
think Game Vet's calling from the same
Well, he
phone you
cut
were
out
using.
really bad. I couldn't understand that at all, man.
Okay,
Can you
we got
relay?
try it again.
All right. Are the aliens afraid of getting their picture taken or?
Yeah, are they afraid of getting? Well, they're interdimensional, so there's no cameras.
I think maybe that they're not allowed to like just show themselves, but I think they do give you signs that you're being watched. They want you to know. I think they make these anomalies so you'll know something is up. They want you to know that you're there.
Well, there you go. That's the exclamation mark. So we kind of lost Game Vet, but hey, Ronnie, thank you for showing up and bringing us up to date on what's happening with you and this alien situation. I really did not expect to hear about a 17-inch penis. That was a shocker for me. But I can just imagine that you miss it all this time. Maybe one day you'll be able to get it back.
Well, I hope all you guys get to experience that at some point. I hope they figure out a way to put your consciousness into the alien body where you can experience the alien penis. You'll get to say you had a 17-inch penis as well.
I'm more of a dog guy myself.
Hey, I say pussy's pussy. All right.
Yeah, watch out, Pucky. You got cats, man. That may be like an attraction for them.
Well, I'm telling you, Pucky's cat ran as soon as Ronnie said, yeah.
I'll just have another beer.
Dangerous. Dangerous. There you go. All right, Ronnie, thank you for joining us. We're going to move on over to the New York Times article. Anybody here read the New York Times article?
Yeah, I've heard the story.
We'll have to bring it up because a lot of people are making like a big thing about it. So basically, here it is. Apparently, we're going to find out some more information about the whole Tic Tac situation. And I know Dre likes the whole Tic Tac situation. Dre?
We're buying 2 windshield wipers.
Yeah.
Oh. That's not news.
Yeah, so there you go. So now they're saying that there is going to be additional releases that are going to come now because the government's involved, the Congress, in trying to get information about the whole Tic Tac situation.
They gave it a cool name too, UFO unit.
Well, we got cat units, we got UFO units. So
why don't they release the whole video?
Well, see, that's a good question. Because at first they were saying that there wasn't a whole video, that was it. But then apparently there is a longer video, according to this guy right here, Mr. Luis Elizondo.
I thought that was a bad episode of Playgirl.
This is a family show.
Yeah. But yeah, so there you go.
Didn't get one sale.
Yeah, no kidding. But yeah, so that's what's in the works right now. They're trying to see. They're going to release information that's not considered to be top secret, according to them.
I think the guy in charge of the files has COVID. That's why they haven't released it.
Yeah, he's on furlough. But look at this guy, Harry Reid, who's been involved in all this from the beginning. Look at his cheeks. Doesn't he look a lot older than when he retired from Congress? He's been through it. Yeah, so that's the story. You can look it up. There's not a whole lot to it, just the fact they're just letting you know stuff's coming your way in the way of extra information. There you go. And Renee had a question about that if we had actually seen it. So there you go. You guys are kind of quiet today. I know you guys are pondering having a 17-inch penis. That really is what it is.
Yeah, man, that's something you need to try and bring back. You know, try and talk him into it, Ronnie. What's the secret? You know.
Yeah.
Like the only way the world's gonna believe me is if you share this with me. You know,
Ronnie. I mean, Game Vid, you're the only one that has a truck big enough.
No, my trailer's not big enough for that. No, I was thinking about this weekend sitting outside of my driveway and say, just yell out loud, "I know Ronny Dawson. Show me yourself." Maybe then I'll get him on camera.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to make a drawing. I'm gonna have to do some drawings to show you guys what I saw there, including the 17-inch unit.
That would be perfect.
Yeah, let's film the show.
Wow. That'd be awesome.
All right.
I want to see the South African guy staring at it. That's what you got to put in the drawing.
I don't know which was worse, the 17 inches or the someone staring at me.
Yeah.
The caption would read, "How the hell?"
I actually had an aunt that has kind of a similar story. I never really got to get too much into details with her because she was always gone, and it was always kind of like family lore kind of. But the whole story was that my aunt Dinga apparently had children on other planets, and it just kind of like it rotated around the family. And I'm not trying to say anything, Ronnie, but everybody in the family, thought she was fucking batshit crazy. But I finally, I was older, finally got a chance to talk to her a little bit, and it seemed like she was more into metaphysical and out of body stuff. So it kind of ties to what you're talking about. I think she would have more of an out of body experience, and then say that she would go to these different planets and have children, but kind of ties into the more astral plane side of your tale.
Yeah,
Ronnie.
I was in the astral plane for a while, but when they put me in the clone, it felt like I was really there. It felt completely different than the astral plane. I mean, when they put me in the clone, I thought I was there. I had no idea that it wasn't me. I had to kind of figure it out. It felt like me there.
With you having
U plus,
with you having sleep apnea. Do you think you're going through a type of sleep paralysis deeper than most people that's putting you into this other plane?
No, I wear my mask every night because I'm a CDL hazmat driver. So I'm required by the DOT to get at least 4 hours a night on the machine, and I have the DOT checking my usage. So I'm consistent about wearing my mask. It works well. I haven't had any problem with it. I sleep fine with it. I've got used to it. So it's a hassle, but I still do it. So.
I know how it is. I have a CPAP also, but sometimes I know that if sleep paralysis can kick in when you're that relaxed, and your dreams just go out of control.
Yeah, I've never really had a lot of sleep paralysis. Like I said, when they did the alien home invasion on me, they ransacked my house. I mean, I didn't ransack my own house. They tore a hole in my floor that I had to patch up. And I had claw marks under my bed. I mean, I had a lot of physical evidence that they were here and they were present. And plus, when they had me paralyzed, I was wide awake. I seen everything they were doing, and it scared the living heck out of me, And not only that,
State Farm was not happy,
and it scared the cat too. The cat ran off when they run up under the bed and start shaking the bed. The cat fled from the room. So there was a lot of things going on there that that tells you that it wasn't sleep paralysis.
Okay.
So, Ronnie, I would imagine, have you been sharing this story with the fam?
Well, my wife kind of figures out as long as my physical body isn't having sex with another woman, that she is kind of okay with it. Now, if my physical body started having sex with someone else, then she would be upset. First, I didn't know how she would feel about it. Well, I don't keep secrets from my wife. I tell her everything in my life that goes on, good, bad, or ugly, and that's why we have the relationship that we do.
When you start, you come up, you grab your coffee, and you're like, "Guess what I had a few hours ago?" When you start telling her you have a 17-inch augmentation.
She would probably enjoy it to some aspects. Give her bragging rights, if nothing else.
I would imagine so. Even for you, Ronnie, that would be a lot of bragging rights, I'm sure. That's hilarious. Well, it kind of leaves me speechless. I don't even know what the hell else to say after
that. Yeah, that's a conversation starter right there.
Yeah. But really, what do you? I mean, how many people have you told about your most recent escapade?
Well, I was on American radio online with Teresa J. Morris, and she wanted me to do a few shows to help her fill in some time slots, and somehow or another I agreed to it. And the weird thing was, I was doing the show, and then all of a sudden, not only did we lose internet, we lost phone connections. The 38,000 people for 2 days didn't have internet or phone. We didn't even have 911 services. It was almost like the government was so serious about shutting my show down that they just cut the line to the whole area. And for 2 days, and there was people that actually had to drive to the fire department to report a fire. So I'm thinking if the government is involved, they're very serious about people not hearing this. So, and I don't know for a fact that's what happened, but it was kind of odd how I was right in the middle of the UFO podcast when they when the lines went down and the phones went dead at the same time.
Yeah, it's weird how that happens. It happens a lot to us when we have experiencers and psychics for some reason. They always have technical issues. Kind of weird.
Do you think that the FBI or CIA or Homeland Security or anything has ever tapped your house because of these stories?
I can tell you. I have a LinkedIn account, and that LinkedIn account shows you who's looked at your account. And my LinkedIn account actually showed me when the government was looking at my account. So. It was the NSA, I think, was looking at my account, and it showed me that they were looking at my account, and I screenshot it, and I still got the proof.
Oh, wow.
Hey, they're into anything. They will listen to anything, huh, Ronnie?
Oh, they know we're telling the truth. They're seeing them with their jets, but they're not getting first-hand contact. We're getting first-hand contact. Me, guys like Travis Walton, and Clayton Parker, I think, the guy down in Pascagoula, we're the guys that are on the front lines with the aliens. The government, they getting to see them in their jets and stuff like that, but they're not making contact like we are. So anything they learn has to be from guys like us. Like Calvin Parker's experience, he said the same kind of thing,
Yeah, those guys in Pascagoula, they've been getting a lot of attention as of late. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's a pretty old study. Actually, Calvin Parker friended me here not long ago on Facebook, so I actually have Calvin on my Facebook now.
So, Ronnie, you don't think there could be any kind of government cooperation and exchange, say, technology for, hey, let us grab Ronnie for a little while and have him take care of kind of a couple of our kitty ladies, or we'll slide you some piece of tech or something. You don't think anything like that? Governments doesn't have any contact with them.
I think they were sitting here in stealth mode and observing the way our government works. And to be quite honest, I don't think they have a very high opinion of them. And I don't think they want to contact.
I can't blame them for that.
they don't seem like they have a very high opinion of our government. They would rather meet the people rather than the government. And that's just the opinion, that I got of them. It's like they're not too pleased with our government and the way it works. I don't think at all.
Well, thank you for taking the ambassador approach to this.
Yeah, you took one for the team a couple of times, and you gave some too, actually. Quite a lot. Well, guys, this is the end of the Thursday Night Freakout. Ronnie, thank you for showing up and sharing your story. Like I said, it was like,
thank you, Ronnie.
I was not expecting that, Ronnie. Not in any stretch of the imagination, not one bit.
Yeah, and you heard it here.
Yep.
Yeah, on UFO Buster Radio.
We did. We will never forget this, Ronnie. I promise you. I'm going to be talking about this all day tomorrow, to be honest. Gosh. Hey, guys, thank you for joining us. This has been the Thursday Night Freakout. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. And if you can, share and subscribe. And the last thing is we're going to have 3 weeks of guests coming on to the Freakout. We're going to have...
well, I'm just getting bits and pieces of what people are saying.
Yeah. So we're going to have quite a few people coming on. So stay tuned. We're going to have crazy guests. And I can guarantee you none of them have a 17-inch penis. I'm pretty sure about that. But, Ronnie, thank you for showing up. Guys, it's time to say goodbye. Ciao, guys.
See you later, guys.
You seem to know something I don't. What's going on? Can you tell me what it is, please? I'm not that slow like you think. Strange vibrations in the room and I can feel it. I'm a hurricane, I'm bringing thunder and rain. I'm a hurricane if you get in my way. I'm a hurricane, always on top of my game. I'm a hurricane, I'm trying to get in my way. Oh, you rolling punches, I'm catching scars. I'll brush you up just like the dust upon my shoulder.